been sworn, you may proceed.
I think they had passed the witness, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, cross-examination.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
Officer Velasquez, without trying to embarrass anybody, before we broke for lunch, I was about to say, enjoy your day and excuse you, but now I feel obligated to ask you a question or two. So,
That's fine, sir.
okay, thank you for being here. You collected this evidence, you took it to the property room at DPD, is that right?
Yes, the registered property is where we take all evidence.
Right. So this evidence was gathered by another officer, was given to you and your partner Morris, who checked it. You logged your name on the evidence tags. You took it over to the Baylor Street property room, is that correct?
Correct.
And the prosecutors asked you to retrieve that evidence yesterday and come to court today, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you brought it with you this morning, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Was that all the physical evidence that was obtained in this case?
Yes, sir. As far as what was given to us, yes.
That's what was requested for you to pick up. Was there anything else in the property room with regard to this particular case?
With regard to this particular case, when it was given to me that night, everything was retrieved that was given to us that night. Brought to court.
To your knowledge, was anything else done on the case? For example, were there prints taken of the gun?
That's beyond me, sir.
Okay, so to your knowledge, that's a no.
I can't say it's a yes or a no. I just don't know where it goes after I deposit the evidence. I'm sure it's followed up by somebody else, but I'm not sure if that happens or not.
Would that be in the evidence property room, I guess? I keep saying evidence room, property room.
Possibly.
Okay, like a gunshot residue test kit. Would that be in the property room, possibly, if there was one done?
I'm not the right person to answer that question, but that's an assumption. I can't say that's correct or not correct.
Well, I'm just curious if you know. I mean, if you don't know, that's fine.
I'm sorry, sir. I don't know.
On the tag sheet, on one of those envelopes, it says NIBIN. Do you know what NIBIN stands for?
From my recollection, it means when I think they do some type of test, like to see if the weapon's been fired or something like that, or if there's ballistics. I'm not sure.
Okay, so it said completed, right? NIBIN completed. Is that what your recollection was?
I didn't look that closely yet. I think that was probably done after I deposited the weapon.
So if there was any reports or anything kept as a result of that test, that wasn't something you picked up or retrieved from the property room, is that right?
Everything that we showed the jury earlier is what I retrieved.
Okay, thank you, officer. I'll pass the witness.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor,
May this witness be finally excused.
from the state.
No objection.
All right, thank you. You're free to leave and go about your business.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Please watch your step. Call your next witness.
The state will call Detective Daniel Hill.
All right, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, do you have gum?
No, I was just chewing a cookie.
Okay. All right. Please watch your step. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Hill, could you introduce yourself to the jury and state your first and last name, spell your last name for the record?
Detective Daniel Hale, H-A-L-E.
Introduce yourself to the jury, please.
I'm a police officer with the city of Dallas. I've worked there for almost 17 years now.
Where are you currently assigned?
I'm currently assigned to the Dallas Fusion Center.
What is the Dallas Fusion Center?
The Dallas Fusion Center is basically a unit that was created as a result of 9/11 to share information between federal partners and local police agencies. Some of my job responsibilities there are to do cellular forensics, monitor for high priority calls, shootings, stabbings, things of that nature, and to assist detectives in their investigations, as well as to write intelligence products.
Are you familiar with the Deep Ellum Foundation?
Yes, sir.
What is your knowledge of the Deep Ellum Foundation?
Basically, it's a group of businesses that have basically gotten together to share their camera system with the city of Dallas so that we can monitor their cameras for criminal activity.
So you said share their camera system. Does DPD have access to their camera system?
Yes, sir.
Why does DPD have access to the Deep Ellum Foundation's camera system?
We don't have any cameras in that area. The best we can do is maybe put a mobile trailer out there temporarily. But with all those businesses having cameras out there, you're talking 30, 40, 50 businesses that all of a sudden give us access to their cameras. We can then glean what's going on in that area.
Would you characterize the Deep Ellum area as a high crime area?
It can be.
Were you aware of the special assignment of officers being deployed to Deep Ellum on the weekends?
Yes, sir.
So describe the access that Dallas Police Department has to the Deep Ellum Foundation cameras.
So it is a web-based portal. Basically, I would go to their website, log in using credentials, and then I would select from a list of cameras which one I actually want to look at.
So do you have access to the physical cameras from each of the businesses?
Correct.
Well, when I say physical access, you said a web stream, so is that just a connection that you have to the physical cameras?
Yes, ma'am. It's just a web a stream where we can replay video or we can watch live video. We can't manipulate the camera at all. The DVD cameras, we can change the angles, we can zoom in, zoom out. Their cameras are basically static. What we see is what we get.
So is it fair to say you can only, from the stream, see whatever their cameras are recording?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said you can't zoom in or change the angle of any of the cameras, correct?
Correct.
So if you have access to these cameras, if you see something associated with a call or incident, how do you go about trying to check to see if any of the cameras would have information available or helpful to the officers?
I would use the call sheet as well as what I'm hearing on the radio to compare to what that location is, and then select cameras in that area to try to see if it captured anything that could be relevant.
So is that part of your, one of your roles and responsibilities with DPD Fusion to have the radio on, look at call sheet notes that are coming in from incoming incidents,
Yes, ma'am.
and then from there, you try to find surveillance video that matches the area of the information you're receiving?
Yes, ma'am. That could also include if an individual's name is on the call sheet. I could do research on that individual to try to identify the person before the officers get out to the scene.
And so, if you find helpful information, how do you retrieve that information from the web-based stream?
In this case, the web-based stream, we typically would screen record, because this web-based program does not give us the ability to download it directly to our computer. At the time, our screen recording system did
when you say that your screen recording didn't work, are you saying it didn't work with the Deep Ellum Foundation's camera system?
Correct.
Were you, so you said the screen recording didn't work, so what, and you couldn't download directly, what other things were you trying to do to try to capture any of the surveillance?
I utilized a body camera that had been assigned by the city of Dallas.
Were you working on May 21st, 2002 around 2 a.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you working in the Dallas Police Department Fusion Center?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you hear any information on the radio or see any information on the call sheets that led you to look for surveillance video?
Yes, ma'am. A officer assist call came out in the Deep Ellum area. Knowing that area has the Deep Ellum cameras, I went and accessed their system and started pulling up cameras about where the officers might have been.
And were you able to find any surveillance video that captured information that you became aware of from the radio call sheets?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you able to, that night, screen record that surveillance video?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
The system would not allow us. We tried 2 different programs to try to screen record. Neither one worked. We tried for a period of a couple of days to capture that video. After a couple of days of not being able to capture that video, I made the decision to bring my body camera from home and brought it to work and recorded the video using my body camera.
Why did you use your body camera to record the surveillance video?
Because nothing else was working at the time, and it was really to preserve the evidence of what I had seen on the camera.
And when you said you took your body camera and recorded the surveillance, can you describe what you mean to the jury? Is it a screen you're recording? What exactly are you recording from your body camera?
So, basically our body cameras are something we wear if we're in uniform. Because I'm not in a uniform assignment, I don't have a body camera on me. So basically what I did in this situation was I brought up the cameras on my computer, on a computer screen, and then I used the body camera to film the computer screen as it was playing.
Now, if you were able to screen record, would that show the same screen that you would see on your body camera?
Yes, ma'am.
And so you said you did this 2 days after May 21st. Would that be sometime about during your shift on May 23rd?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was your shift at the time?
3 p.m. to 11 p.m.
So 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. But you were working that night. Were you working overtime on May 21st?
Yes, ma'am.
But during your 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. shift on May 23rd, that's when you took your body camera to record the surveillance video that you found, correct?
Correct.
Now, are you aware of that particular surveillance video, the business that it's from? Are you aware of how long those videos, their retention policy?
I believe for the business that I recorded, it's 16 days.
16 days. So if, would a individual, or let's say a detective, would they be able to, or could they go to a business in Deep Ellum to retrieve a copy of the surveillance video?
Yes, ma'am.
In your experience, are you aware of issues that come up when detectives or individuals go to businesses to retrieve the surveillance video from their systems?
Yes, ma'am. You could run into an issue where the person who has access to the computer doesn't have access to the camera system. That person might not be there, they might be on vacation. Their hard drives might become corrupted overnight. We might have a power surge and their computers are just not operational during that time. There's a lot of things that could happen.
In your 17 years experience with Dallas Police Department, are you aware of other instances where officers or detectives have used body camera to record surveillance in an effort to preserve it?
Yes, ma'am.
Objection to relevance, Your Honor.
Overruled. You may have.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you say that happens, is that something that's a frequent occurrence or something that,
I would say it's almost a common practice. As a patrol officer, if you view video at a scene at a 7-Eleven or a gas station or a business, it's almost common practice now that the officer records that video from their body camera to at least preserve that evidence in case something were to happen between the time of the incident where the officers are out there to the time the detectives show up to recover that.
so if I'm understanding your testimony correctly, if an incident happens and a responding officer is on scene, they're made aware from a witness or whomever that there's surveillance video, correct?
Correct.
And that it's DPD's common practice for them to use their body camera to record that surveillance, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then later, if a detective is assigned, then they would then try to retrieve a copy of the surveillance from the business, correct?
Correct.
In this particular case, this particular offense, is this considered a direct foul offense?
Yes, ma'am.
For direct foul cases, are detectives assigned to them, to these types of cases?
No, ma'am.
So in this instance, a detective wasn't assigned, is that correct?
Correct.
So there was no detective assigned to go out to any development business, is that correct?
That would be correct.
Can I approach your honor?
You bet.
Detective Hill, I'm showing you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit 14. Do you recognize that?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the body camera recording that you took of the surveillance video that you observed back on May 21st and May 23rd of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had an opportunity to review that, the body camera before your testimony this afternoon?
Yes, ma'am.
And is this body camera recording is this something that you took?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it a fair and accurate representation of the recording that you took from your body camera of the surveillance video that you viewed at the time of making this recording?
Yes, ma'am.
You testified that you made this recording back on May 23rd of 2022, is that correct?
Correct.
On May 21st of 2022, were you aware that the surveillance video that you recorded on May 23rd, were you aware that it existed?
Yes, ma'am.
You testified that you weren't able to screen record it on May 21st?
Correct.
What was it doing that avoided you to be able to screen record it?
The two programs that we utilized to screen record just would not open up when we were utilizing the video camera system.
Did they buffer any? Did you get sort of like a spinning wheel, or what do you mean by that? And if you don't understand my question, let me rephrase. was, you said the programs wouldn't just open up, I'm not sure I'm, making sure I'm understanding what you mean.
I'll elaborate. So DPD utilizes Microsoft as well as Xbox toolbar in order to screen record our monitors to capture video. With the Deep Ellum Foundation's cameras, those two programs would not allow us to record that video. So we had no program that gave us the ability to record their camera.
So on May 21st, did you observe any surveillance video that was similar information that you were receiving on the radio and call notes?
Yes, ma'am.
And that surveillance that you, video that you observed, is that the same surveillance that you were able to record 2 days later, roughly 2.5 days later, on May 23rd, 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
And any alterations or deletions to your knowledge of your body camera recording of that surveillance?
No.
Now, on your body camera, if you recall, do you recall the surveillance buffering at all?
Yes, ma'am.
And at what points do you recall it buffering?
I believe it buffers towards the end of the video. Buffering is an issue that we have with this surveillance camera system because we're getting it from their servers coming through the internet to our servers and then trying to play it. The best way to describe it is like dial-up. You're just waiting on the video to load. You don't know how long it's going to be. It could be 30 seconds. It could be 8, 9, 10 hours. You don't know. The previous day that I tried to download this video or screen record, the video buffered for 6, 7 hours before I gave up and decided I tried again the next day.
And so does State Exhibit 14, does that recording that you took from your body camera of the surveillance, does it fairly and accurately reflect the events that you were aware of on May 21st, 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, at this time, I'm going to offer State Exhibit 14 for all purposes tender to defense.
We take the witness on board.
You may.
We take the tail. We've talked about this before, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's rehash that. The original is kept with the Deep Ellum Foundation, is that right?
Correct.
And Adam Holden is the Director of Security Services for that company, right?
I believe at the time, yes.
Maybe not now, but in 2021, or 2022, excuse me, that was the case.
I believe so now.
And DPD is able to obtain the original copies of the videos if they would like to, is that correct? From Deep Ellum Foundation, as you testified to.
Yes, we could.
Okay. And then you said, in fact, there's like 16 days in order to get the copy directly from the source, is that right?
Correct.
In fact, there were other videos in this particular case that were obtained through, I guess, Fusion, not through the direct source, but through the computer system that you all have, right? Screen recording.
Correct.
Okay. But this one wasn't, right? You weren't able to screen record this one.
The analyst who was assigned to record all those videos apparently missed this one. I don't know why.
So you testified that you initially saw this stream the night of the incident, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you assigned another analyst to download these relevant videos at some point, is that correct?
Correct.
And you weren't, the system was new at the time, and you weren't sure how to really do the screen record, or there's some new software issues, is that fair to say?
Yes, we ended up using a different program that allowed us to bypass the issue.
This other analyst was able to get the other videos, but this one, for some reason, kind of fell through the cracks.
Correct.
That's when you made the decision to use body cam to film it?
No, sir.
No.
The
Tell me.
body camera video was done well before we were able to screen record, to my knowledge.
When were the screen recordings of the other one done?
I don't know. I would assume it was probably a week later, but without looking at that evidence, I can't tell you.
Would you agree with me that a screen recording of the entire scene would have been better than this short clip?
Sure.
Okay, because there's clearly buffering that goes on, which just means the screen goes blank and there's a spinning wheel
Correct.
about a third of the way through. At the very end of the video, it just freeze frames, and then it goes to buffering, and then there's nothing else after that.
Yes, sir.
So in the other video, if a true and accurate copy of the screen recording had occurred, we would have probably not had all those issues. Is that right?
No, sir.
That's not right.
That is not right.
Well-
You would also have the buffering if, with the screen recording, because it's the same.
Does it depend on, my apologies, does it depend on the camera itself and the business that it's affixed to?
It depends on the camera, the way the data is sent from their business to their server, to our server. You're going through a bunch of relays, and it's gonna buffer at different times. So I can play one video from today, and it might buffer differently on the next attempt.
You've seen the other video, right? For the other surveillance camera?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there's no buffering in that one.
Correct.
So how do you explain that? Just because of the location, or that camera's better, or they have more broadband?
Honestly, luck.
Okay, just luck.
Yes.
Okay. You said you recorded this 2 days later, right?
Yes, sir.
And you knew that it was shortened clip, right?
Correct.
So you still had another 14 days in which to try to download or, screen record.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, may we approach, Your Honor?
You may. Oh, are you, oh, I thought you.
Approach the bench,
Sorry.
please. So, Your Honor, we will object to State's Exhibit 14 based on the fact that it is based on my previous objection, which the court has already ruled on, which primarily are based upon this idea of best evidence. The original was available for DPD to acquire. They did acquire the other videos. This is a clip which stops midstream, and it is not complete. And I think we're entitled to a complete record of this. So based on my prior objections, I would object to that exhibit.
All right. Now goes to weight, not admissibility, so State's Exhibit 14 is admitted for all purposes.
Finish not publish.
You may.
If you may hit the lights, please.
Sure.
Detective Hill, in State's Exhibit 14, what is this date here? If you could see my arrow at the bottom center of the screen.
The 21st, 2022. 5/22? 5/21, 2022.
And there's a screen behind you, but just be sure to bring your mic with you so the Madam Court reporter can hear you. Okay, so 5/21/2022, you see the time here?
1:59 a.m.
And then this date here,
5/23/2022 at 5:32 p.m.
And is that the time that you pulled this surveillance up to report it?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also see May 21st, 2022 at 1:59 a.m. in the top left-hand screen as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize the area of this street here? Sorry.
That's going to be Corrales Street.
And at 25 seconds, is this the first occurrence of buffering that you noticed on State Exhibit 14?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna pause it at 1 minute and 5 seconds. Detective Hill, do you see an officer here where I'm circling?
Yes, ma'am.
And prior to that, did you see an individual in a white shirt run here followed by an officer?
Yes, ma'am.
And for the record, I'm pointing to a little bit to the right of the screen. It says Exhibit 14 near a silver vehicle. Let's try to zoom in a little bit here. I'm gonna back it up to 50 seconds here, and I'm gonna direct your attention between these two vehicles, Detective Hill.
Okay.
Pause again at 1 minute and 6 seconds. So the information that you received over the radio on the call sheets, does that line up with what you were able to, what you see here on State's Exhibit 14?
Yes, ma'am.
And so when you received that information and the area, is that when you went to the DPLM cameras that you all have access to try to see if it captured anything that you were seeing on the radio or hearing on the radio on the call sheets?
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm backing up to 54 seconds. Detective Hill, I want you to describe if you see the individual in this white shirt, what you described them doing.
I would describe the individual in the white shirt as bending over and possibly tossing something underneath the vehicle.
Now, from this video, now or even at the time you reported, were you able to, could you tell what he was tossing?
No.
Were you aware of what, based on the call sheets or the radio, what officers believed that he was tossing?
I made contact with the officers out in the field and advised them of what I had seen on the video camera, and they advised me that they had recovered a gun underneath the car.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Judge, you can leave the lights off for a minute,
Oh.
if you don't mind. 'Cause I'm just gonna ask him a couple of questions about the video.
All right.
Detective Hale, me again. A couple of follow-up questions. I know you weren't out there and you recorded this on your body camera. I'm just gonna play it to the end because the state kept saying, I'm gonna pause it here. And I'm not gonna touch the controls. That's where it pauses automatically and begins buffering again, right?
Correct.
So we don't see anything that happens after this.
Correct.
And how long did you stand there in front of the terminal with your body camera waiting for it to reconnect?
For this one, maybe 30 seconds.
Okay, so we don't know what happens after that. So whatever these officers did after this apprehension, I guess, we don't know, right?
Not captured by this video.
Right. Well, do we have it on any other video?
No, sir.
Okay. So I'm gonna come back to this particular moment, and it's second, I guess, on my screen, it says number 59. And you see the man in the white shirt about to step off the sidewalk in between two vehicles, is that right?
Yes, sir.
I can't zoom mine, I'm sorry, it's just, do you see him, what he's doing with his hands? I know it's hard to see.
It looked like one hand was maybe touching his face.
Maybe his left hand touching his head?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and where is his other hand?
It looks like his right hand is around his waistline.
Okay, does it look like he's pulling something out of his waistline?
It's hard to say.
It is hard. I'm gonna just run it through one time. Did you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it looks like he's pulling something out of his waistband. When he steps off the curb, he dips down low, places something under the vehicle, that black SUV, right?
Correct.
And then makes his way across the street, and Officer Santana, we later find out, is the one who apprehended him. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you can see in that still that Officer Santana has his firearm drawn at that point, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
May this witness be kindly excused.
From the state.
No objection.
All right, thank you, Detective Hill. You're free to leave and go about your business.
Okay.
All right, call your next witness, please.
The state will call Officer Luis Navarro.
All right, sir, if you would please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, if you would be seated in the witness stand, please watch your step. You may proceed.
Officer Navarro, if you could state your first and last name.
Luis Navarro,
Can you spell your last name for the record?
Navaro,
How are you currently employed, Officer Navarro?
through Grand Prairie Police.
How long you been in the Grand Prairie Police Department?
I want to say it's about a year and 7 months or so.
Did you work for the Dallas Police Department prior to your time with Grand Prairie?
Yes, ma'am.
How long were you with DPD?
I want to say it was close to 3 years, maybe a few months shy of that.
Any particular reason why you decided to leave DPD and go to Grand Prairie?
It's kind of a funny story, right? So, me and my partner Santana, he kind of just brought it up to me one day. You know, he was just like, "Hey, have you looked into Grand Prairie at all?" And I was just so like, "No, to be honest with you, I really haven't." So I looked into it, and I mean, there were some things that I kind of liked about it, like the days off, and the pay was a little bit better. So I ended up putting in the application, and, I'm like, hey, what did you do? I asked him, I was like, did you do it? And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna get to it. So we kind of just stopped talking about it for a while. I ended up getting accepted, I ended up going to the academy. And I'm like, hey man, I got the job and you have it, so what's the deal here? But he pretty much brought it up to me and I ended up going over there. And now he's with me over there too.
Okay, so fair to say it was Officer Santana's idea, but you ended up working there first?
Yeah, that's kind of what it ended up being.
Okay. Any particular reason why you wanted to become a police officer?
So when I first started, I was still in the Marine Corps Reserve, and I had just finished like my basic training and stuff, and I mean, you know, the Marine Corps, you kind of have that camaraderie and stuff, and I kind of just translated over to the police side. Kind of just been here ever since.
Did you go through the same training and experience that the jury has heard from your counterparts regarding the 9-month academy and the approximate 6 months with the field training officer?
Yes, ma'am.
Any additional training outside of that, other than on-the-job training, answering calls for service?
Just like the other academy and the other NCO that I did with Grand Prairie.
So when you're in the academy, do you learn how to answer calls for service?
We do like scenario-based training. And I mean, they kind of just change up, but no call is the same, so it's kind of hard to really be able to, I guess, simulate that. But I mean, the academy does the best they can to try to, expose us to situations that we may encounter out in the field.
Were you exposed in the academy to scenarios where you heard gunshots and how to respond?
I can't recall, but I'm sure we did.
Sure. And back on May 21st of 2022, were you working that 4th watch 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. shift?
Yes, ma'am.
And what substation were you assigned to?
At the time, it was Northwest.
Back then, did you have to go on special assignment to the Deep Ellum area at some point, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on those weekend days?
Yeah, occasionally.
Occasionally. Back on May 21st, 2022, were you on special assignment to that area in Deep Ellum?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times would you say that you were on special assignment prior to that night?
Maybe twice or 3 times.
And when you're on this special assignment in Deep Ellum, what are your directives from your sergeants and lieutenants as far as your responsibilities when you're out there?
To be honest, it was just for presence. They just kind of wanted us to be out there. We had to make contacts, make them as you see fit. But I mean, Deep Ellum was kind of had a spike in crime, so we were just there for high visibility.
So in your regular shift, if you're, at the Northwest Station, would you answer calls for service or do proactive policing, things like that, like you would on a regular shift?
Yes, ma'am.
But particularly for this special assignment, it was mainly just about being present and visible to the public.
Yes, ma'am.
So I want to go ahead and direct your attention to around a little bit before 2 a.m. Do you recall talking with Lieutenant Quinlan around that time?
Yes.
And what was Officer Santana with you?
Yes, he was.
Okay. And what were you, do you recall what you all were talking with Lieutenant Quinlan about?
I want to say it was the charges that we had at the time.
You want to say what? If you don't mind, Officer Navarre, if you could bring that mic a little bit closer to you. So, could you repeat your answer?
Yeah, I want to say it was the charges we had at the time.
You said the charges you had to what now?
Yeah, for like the situation.
Well,
We're talking about like at the beginning of this. Okay, yeah.
yes.
I mean, so that's kind of a funny story there. So he had just came up to me in Santana. He was like, "Hey, you guys, well, it's about to be the end of the day, and he just kind of just make the small talk with us, and we're like, "Oh yeah, well, we're just pretty much getting ready to wrap up, and that's pretty much it."
Were you surprised to see a lieutenant there?
Yeah, I mean, it was it was kind of a surprise just that he came up to us, right? I mean, there's a whole bunch of officers out there just in general. But, yeah, I mean, he kind of just came up to us and we had never seen him, so we kind of just made small talk with him.
Sure. And so at some point during your conversation, interaction with Lieutenant Quinlan, do you hear a disturbance?
Yes.
Describe for the jury what you hear and observe.
So, what kind of caught our eye was that, I want to say his name was Steven. So Steven, he kind of walks through us, and when me and Santana were kind of like, we're pretty close to each other, we're having a conversation between the two of us. So he walks right in front of us, so that was kind of odd, you know, kind of breaking personal space for us, and we kind of just look up, and we see him as he's walking over to our right side. And I turned to look at him, and what they say, he's about to start, you know, getting into an argument with some other gentlemen. And they're getting into an argument, and we just start seeing their hands start flooding at each other. So we kind of just turned our attention to them, and we started walking towards them to make contact.
Now, Officer Navarro, I did see while you were on the stand, you sort of point in a direction according. Do you see the individual that you ended up making contact with that night that was involved in the altercation with Mr. Arouse?
Yes, ma'am.
You recognize him in the courtroom?
Yes, ma'am.
So if I'm sitting in seat 1, and my co-counsel is sitting in seat 2, and so on and so on, what seat would he be sitting in?
Let's see, 4.
Your Honor, let the record reflect that his witnesses identified the defendant in open court.
The record will so reflect.
Do you recall during the disturbance if you heard any specific words that were being said?
To be honest with you, I really don't remember the words, but I just remember them kind of just going at it amongst themselves.
About how far away would you say that you were standing from the disturbance that you heard?
Maybe about from where I'm at to where that wall is at.
You're not good at math. It's 50 feet, was that what you say?
Approximately.
Approximately, okay. So you hear the disturbance. What else do you observe?
There's kind of people in the area kind of just looking around and looking towards them. So,
Do you see anybody make physical contact with anybody?
yeah, it kind of looked like they were both kind of just going at each other.
We say going at it.
Kind of just like
Pushing
flaring
each
their
other?
arms at each other and, yeah. That's kind of what I saw.
And so what did you do once you heard this disturbance and started seeing this physical contact filling up the arms?
We're just already making our way towards them.
What was your intent when you got close to them?
To break them up, pretty much, and to pretty much talk to both of them and see what's going on.
Hoping for still a quiet night?
Yeah, it was being quiet for most of the night, so.
And so were you able to make contact with them when you started approaching them?
Originally, I only made contact with Steven, because Steven was the one who stayed behind.
So before you were able to make contact, do you hear anything?
Yes,
What do you hear?
we heard a single gunshot.
And once you hear the gunshot, what do you do?
We started running towards them, started running towards the altercation.
And we say we, who are you referring to?
Myself, Lieutenant Quinlan, and Officer Santana.
So when y'all start running towards the gunshot, what specifically do you do?
So I actually holstered my weapon, just because at the time I really wasn't too sure who had the firearm. And, well, like I said, Steven was the one who stayed behind. So I pretty much pointed my firearm at him, and he pulls up his shirt, and he's like, I don't have it. So I turned to look back at Santana, and Santana was on my right side at the time, and he was running. So I just holstered back up, and I started running towards him.
Did you see Mr. Arouse, or did you see other individuals initially before you started approaching them? Did you see other individuals with him?
Yes,
How many people would you say were with him?
maybe about 2.
And when you heard the gunshot, what did those people do?
To be honest with you, I want to say they just stepped away. I really didn't pay too much
So when you approached Mr. Rousey, you said you had your firearm drawn, and he raised his shirt up. He said what now?
I wanna say he said something along the lines of, well, I don't have it.
Did he point in the direction, in any sort of direction after he raised his shirt up?
I can't recall, but I know just instinctively, like, it's just the instinct of one of the three partners that, once I saw that his waistline was clear, and I kinda just partially saw towards his backside, so I didn't see anything, so I just like instinctively turned to my right side, and I saw Santana running.
So once you saw Santana running, you continued to take off?
Yes.
And what do you do after that?
Well, after that, I wanna say, he was on the floor, so I pretty much went up and I assisted put him in handcuffs.
And so at this point, would you say it's only just a few minutes after 2 a.m. at this point?
Yes, sir.
And is that around the time where the bars in Deep Ellum let out?
Yes,
Would you say there were several people on the street?
yes.
So would you agree that it was busy or somewhat chaotic at that time?
Yeah, there was a lot of foot traffic out there.
And so after you helped detain the defendant, then what do you do?
Once I went back momentarily to look for the shell casing, and then I just went back and I ended up grabbing him because I was gonna put him in my vehicle, in my patrol vehicle.
And then you earlier testified that you were talking with Quinlan and Santana about the charges. Is that after you were able to detain the defendant? Is that
Yes.
what happened later, trying to figure out what you had out there on the scene?
Yes, this is after the fact.
May I approach your honor?
You may.
Officer Barr, were you equipped with body worn camera on that night?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able to activate your body worn camera that night?
I activated it when he was being handcuffed.
Officer Barr, I'm showing you what I've just marked as State's Exhibit 36. You recognize this to be your body camera?
Yes.
Now, this has been edited, portions of it subject to the court's ruling. How long would you say that you're out there, or that your body camera would have been active to capture the events of that evening? Less than an hour?
Yeah, less than an hour.
So other than the redactions based on the court's ruling, is your body camera a fair and accurate representation of what occurred that night?
Yes.
And do you think it would be helpful for the jury to understand your testimony?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm offering State Exhibit 36.
Okay.
Alright, Case exhibit number 36 is admitted for all purposes.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
You may.
I'm thinking at 36, what time do we see right here in the top right hand corner, Officer Navarro?
It's at 1:59 in the morning.
And this date here?
May 21st, 2022.
And Axon, is that the manufacturer of the body camera that DPD uses?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I do want to ask, does your body camera work similar to the other officers at DPD equipped with body camera that once you activate it, it records video 30 seconds back in the future, but not necessarily audio, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm pausing at 10 seconds. Is this what you described earlier on the stand, that you drew your service weapon after you heard the gunshot, and then you drew it and pointed at Rouse, and then he lifted his shirt up?
Yes, ma'am.
Now I'm pausing it again at 12 seconds. This individual here in the white shirt, do you see him appear to be pointing in front of him?
Yes.
And this individual here, who is that?
This is Lieutenant Cronin.
Now you said your partner was on the right side, but he was ahead of you, correct?
Yes.
So again, Officer Navarro, portions of this have been redacted per the court's ruling, but this part, starting here at 23 seconds, or 22 seconds, we now hear sound on your body camera, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And, at this point, what are you doing?
Well, I just momentarily was looking for the shell casing.
shell in the fired shell casing end up being recovered?
I believe so. Straight when we were sitting over there, that's what fucked up. Since we had already turned around and we saw them fighting, when we went, the one got approached, that's when we heard it.
I'm pausing at 2 minutes and 19 seconds. So Officer Barr, were to speak to Stephen Arouse about this, the altercation he was involved in?
Yes, ma'am.
How would you describe his demeanor that night?
Agitated.
How so?
Just his body language and then just how he was responding to questions. He just appeared to be upset, agitated.
Did you notice any signs of intoxication?
On aroused?
Yes.
I don't really recall, honestly.
You recall mostly him being agitated, is that fair?
Just agitated.
And so, once you spoke to Arouse and you conferenced with Lieutenant Quillen and Officer Santana, was a decision made to write Mr. Arouse a ticket for disorderly conduct?
To be honest with you, I already kind of had it in the back of my mind, just because I already kind of knew that portion of it. So it was already in the back of my mind that we're gonna give him a citation for disorderly conduct.
Now, is part of being on the Deep Ellum special assignment, is that something you feel like that would have been a requirement?
What do you mean?
So if, basically, is that you issuing that ticket, even if you found out he did have a firearm, is that sort of a deterrence factor since y'all are out there for police presence due to the issues that were arising in Deep Ellum?
Yes, definitely.
If this were, let's say, not the Deep Ellum area, but you observed this in another area, would you, that sort of altercation, would you still have written Mr. Arouse a ticket?
More than likely, yes.
More than likely? Is that your responsibility as an officer of the law?
Yes.
Okay. How did he respond when you wrote him or gave him the ticket?
Oh, he was upset.
How do you know?
Oh, he was cussing me out. He was upset.
Okay. Now, to be fair, the ticket was that a Class E misdemeanor.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm pausing at 5 minutes and 21 seconds. Officer Varl, is that something you all are trained to do when you have individuals that may be witnesses and seem to be a little agitated, get them to calm down by having them have a seat?
Usually, yes.
Okay. Is that something that you were trying to get Mr. Rouse to do to calm him down a little bit?
Well, there was that, and I mean, there's always the unknown factor, so you don't wanna give, I guess you always kinda wanna put them in like in a position that's, would be hard for them to get up, or they're gonna do something that you kinda anticipate coming.
And then that's when we get that shot. See, was he wearing his life or anything like that, or deadly conduct? This is firearm and that's what happened. Municipality. Okay. There you go. Charge him both with disorderly conduct. Charge him. Yeah, I'd charge him. Charge him with deadly conduct. So, but I mean, if he's not one of the first charges, then charge him with police with discharging the firearm in the municipality. Well, there you go.
body worn camera is what you testified to earlier. You were talking with Officer Santana and Lieutenant Quinlan, trying to figure out basically what charges you had at the time, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you had to end up asking Mr. Rouse a follow-up question in order to determine if you all were able to file a separate charge against the defendant, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
But it sounds like since Mr. Rouse wasn't in fear for his life, that you ticket for disorderly conduct and sent him on his way, correct?
For Stephen, yes.
Yeah. Now, we also heard you all discuss the charge of UCW. What is that?
Unlawful carrying a weapon.
So if you have a UCW charge, how does it end up becoming an unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon charge?
He would have to have been convicted of a felony.
Did you confirm whether or not the defendant was convicted, had a prior felony conviction?
Objection, Your Honor. I don't think this is the witness to get this through.
Sustained.
So to your knowledge, Officer Navarro, did you file a unlawful carrying of a weapon charge or an unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon charge?
An unlawful possession of a firearm.
By a felon?
Yes, ma'am.
So that is the charge that was filed against the defendant, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, aside from, or let me ask this, do you, once you're taken, or a suspect is arrested and they're gonna be taken to jail, do you get identifying information to fill out the police report or book-in sheet, things like that?
Yes, ma'am.
So we're able to get identifying information of the defendant,
Yes.
like his name,
Yes, ma'am.
his address?
Yes, ma'am.
And where were you able to get this information from?
I want to say one of the other, it was already attached to our call sheet, so I want to say I put it up that way. But I also want to say another option might have handed it to me.
When you say handed, are you talking about the driver's license or some sort of identification?
I really can't recall which ID was, if it was an ID or not, but I think the key part that I remember is that it was attached to the call sheet, so I remember looking at it that way as well.
Say that again?
I remember looking it up that way as well.
Okay. When you say attached to the call sheet, does every incident have a call sheet where notes are inputted either by 911 dispatch or other officers assigned to that incident?
Yes, ma'am.
One moment, Your Honor. already been admitted. Now, earlier on your body camera, we heard you, when you were interviewing Mr. Rouse, that you said you saw both of them pushing and shoving. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Probably at 124, you testified that Mr. Rouse kind of went through you and Officer Santana, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then afterwards, do you see him sort of jog up to the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna back it up just a little bit here. Right at 131, do you see the defendant made contact with Mr. Rouse first,
Yes, ma'am.
as far as physical contact?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna pause at 135. It was pretty quick, did you see a flash?
Yes.
Would that be a muzzle flash?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll just slow it down just a little bit. Describe at the moment you see that flash.
Right there.
So right approximately around the 134, 135 mark, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so was that the gunshot you heard?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll go ahead and put it back to normal speed. Now I'm pausing at 153. What did we saw the few seconds before? Do we see sort of that in a closer angle on your body camera that's in Stacy at 36?
Yes, ma'am.
Here, I'll pass the witness.
Cross-examination.
How are you, Officer Navarro?
I'm doing well, sir.
Okay. Few questions. Describe for me how you were standing with Officer Santana and Lieutenant Quinlan when this man came through your group.
Well, Santana was standing across from me, and we're kind of talking amongst each other. I really can't remember if Lieutenant Quinlan was standing like on the side of Santana, or if he was standing right in front of me. I really can't remember what his position was at too well. But I know for a fact me and Santana were pretty much standing right across from each other. That's kind of what caught us. Yeah, he was directly pretty much in front of me.
I'm standing next to my client, talking to him like this. Is it about like that distance?
Yes, it was pretty close.
And did this person you're saying walk through you?
Yes, sir.
Just kind of like focused and walking, I think your partner said, with a purpose.
Yes.
Was he running?
He was going at a quicker pace than walking, so it looked
Okay.
like he was going somewhere pretty quick.
Didn't bother him that 3 police officers were standing right there, just kind of went through your group, right?
Yeah, it's kind of what it seemed like.
Were you standing in the intersection or by your squad car?
We were standing right at the corner. It was close to the squad car.
Were you standing on the sidewalk or in the street?
We were standing in the street.
Okay, and at the front of your squad car?
I believe so, yes.
Because on the clip, on your body camera clip, or body camera footage, it shows that the squad car, there are 2 squad cars at the intersection, right? Which one was yours? Do you recall?
To be honest with you, sir, I don't.
But you're standing towards the front of the squad car, the guy in the black shirt, Steven, let's call him Steven, comes through your group at a quick walking with a purpose, right?
Yes, sir.
And did that draw your attention, right, first and foremost?
Yes, sir.
And you and Santana actually noticed this and you start to follow him with your eyes.
Yes, sir.
And did you notice the 2 individuals walking on the sidewalk on the right-hand side of the street?
On the right-hand side of the street?
Right.
To be honest, I did.
Okay. Well, as you start to, did you at that moment start to follow the man in the black shirt, or did you just wait to see what happened first?
Yeah, we momentarily kind of just paused and looked at him to see where he was going.
Could you hear him raise his voice?
I don't really think I heard him really say anything, but it was just more of the fact that he kind of cut in between us and it really kind of caught our eyes, so I kind of just followed him with my eyes just to see where it was that he was going. And that's kind of where they encountered each other.
I believe you were asked, he had 2 individuals with him, is that right?
I'm sorry?
The man in black, Steven, there were 2 individuals with him, is that correct?
I wouldn't be able to tell you the amount, the exact amount. I really didn't pay attention to whoever he was with.
Did you hear an altercation or an argument ensue?
Yes.
And there's a lot of ambient noise out on the street at that time, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of foot traffic.
There's a lot of foot traffic, but even on your body camera, you can hear music coming from some of these clubs, right? Traffic, cars, horses, but there's a lot of noise out there. But could you hear their argument, even if not the specific words, could you hear what they were saying to one another?
As they got close to each other, yes.
Okay. And just by virtue of watching that video, is this the first time you've seen the video, or have you watched that video we just saw before?
I watched it before, sir.
And when did you watch it before?
Maybe a couple of weeks before the trial.
Okay. Just based on the first few seconds of that video, does it appear to you who the aggressor in that situation was?
Just, you talking about just on the video, sir?
Yes.
It's kind of hard to say, like I said, I mean, we were kind of just following him with our eyes just to see what was going on first. I really don't know at the time who the primary aggressor was.
Okay. Well, did somebody pursue somebody?
Like I said, I really didn't even know if there was people on the right side until we followed.
Okay. You heard an argument, you saw what was the beginning of an altercation, I think you said, right? You have to answer out loud.
Oh, yes.
When you're talking to Steven later on that evening, you're telling him, I saw you about to get into it, right?
Yes, sir.
And he's like, nah. I was just walking. You remember him saying that?
Not those exact words, but I remember him saying yes, something along those lines.
Do you remember what he said?
He said that, yeah, he was gonna get into altercation with his friend, and he pretty much went outside with him, and he said something along the lines of, all he said was, I'm strapped, boy, and
Well,
so after that.
you confronted him with some bit of information, and he said, no. Did you tell him, you told him, I saw the altercation.
Yes,
Did you say that?
yes,
And
sir.
he denied that, right?
Yes,
You said he was agitated.
yes, he was.
Was he acting belligerent?
A little bit, yes.
Okay. Did you have a little bit of sense, a little attitude from him?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay. Well, you say definitely. I mean, why do you say definitely?
He just appeared to be upset, just mad, just in general.
Okay. When you wrote him the disorderly conduct ticket, how was he acting?
Oh, even more upset, so.
I mean, you said he actually cussed you. What did he say?
I don't remember the exact words, but I just remember he cussed me out.
Did you have to actually put your hands on him to push him away from you?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And that's on your original body camera footage, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did you tell him to calm down and walk away?
I just told him he had to leave, man, he was free to go.
he pretty much dog cussed you the whole time, right? Because he didn't like the fact that he was getting a ticket.
Yes, sir, he didn't like.
Did you see the gun go off, or did you just hear it?
At the time, I only heard it.
Okay. Did you see my client with a gun at any point?
I do not know.
Your attention was diverted to the people that were mainly in the street, right?
Yes, sir.
And
Primarily, he was Steven, sorry to cut you off.
sorry, go ahead, answer again.
I said it was primarily at the time, it was primarily Steven.
Right. And one of the guys he was with was a little further down the road. They're both pointing down the street, right? Stephen pulls his shirt up, as if to say, I don't have anything on me. Did you ever pat him down at any point in the night?
No, I didn't.
Did any of his friends get patted down for weapons?
I'm not too sure his friends did, sir.
Well, you personally didn't do it?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Santana runs down the sidewalk after my client, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And by the time you got to that location, my client's already on the ground and Santana's on top of him, right?
Yes, sir.
And you and Quinlan then assisted getting handcuffs on him, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think your body camera footage then at some point shows you walking back down to where it occurred and you're looking for the shell casing and that was discovered, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you review the report before testifying today?
Yes, I did, sir.
Did you write the report or did your partner write the report?
It was Santana Road, sir.
Okay. Did you help him recall the events of the evening before he wrote it?
I'm sure we did. We did help each other out that report.
You sit together and talk about what you saw and observed?
Yes, sir, I'm sure.
Did Santana tell you what he saw the defendant doing when he was running down the sidewalk?
Yes, sir, he did.
And did he say that did Santana, as they were on the sidewalk, did your partner say he saw a weapon?
Yes, sir, he did.
When did he see the weapon?
He said as he was running, he pretty much crouched down and tossed it.
He said he crouched down and tossed it under a car?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did he tell you that he could hear the gun hit the concrete?
Yes, he did.
Okay. As Santana was pursuing this person down the sidewalk, did you hear him say anything?
Santana? Or-
Yeah, Santana.
No, I didn't hear Santana say anything at the time.
Did you say anything?
No, not at the time, no.
You turned on your body camera when you were further down the street, and so it backs up 30 seconds, right? So the sound doesn't begin until a little bit later, is that right?
Yes, sir.
But you don't recall anybody shouting anything to anybody out there?
Like I said, I mean, there was just a lot of chaos going on, so there was a lot of sounds, so it was just kind of hard to distinguish one sound in itself.
Okay. Thank you, Officer. We'll pass it.
May I redirect?
No, Your Honor.
May this witness be finally excused?
From the state.
No objection.
Thank you, sir. You're free to leave and go back to business. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is 3:04. We will now take our afternoon break until, especially back in the jury room no later than 3:15.
All rise.
You may be seated. Thank you.
Judge, how long did you stay? 10?
For 10 minutes.
Okay, I'll be back. I'm gonna run to another court.
Sir.
some right here, but it might hurt your stomach. Want some snack? I want some snack. I don't know if I can give it to him, but I think I can.
Want his cake? What?
He,
Oh,
Wish.
I said, I don't think I can.
get what?
Some snacks.
No. Sorry.
Yeah. but I-
He's not allowed to. I mean,
That's what I pretty much
for the
figured.
sheriff's department rules.
Had to try.
Yeah.
Did he get lunch?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Gourmet sandwich.
Your definition online.
That was a joke. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Shepherd,
Yes,
can
ma'am.
I trouble you to,
No trouble at all, Judge.
give, well, there's some other ones. All right, one for the prosecutor, one for the state.
Yes, ma'am.
They've already had these, but
Upgrade.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Typo corrected.
Don't get me. He can be in trouble too. I was just joke, Francisco. I be at the jail, I do service all the time, people like, dang, really? But one day when I get hungry enough, I just might have one.
When you get back, I'm gonna use the bathroom myself.
And I'm just gonna get these parking tickets up and that.
Okay.
It's okay, I could believe you.
I wish, man, I was over here nodding, man.
You and the jury.
Huh?
You and the jury.
They were nodding too?
They were fully asleep. Two of them.
Really?
I told my attorney, but he said it's okay. I don't think that's okay.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, the jury not listening to the facts, asleep. How are they able to judge me?
That's true, but maybe in your favor, you know?
All right, Judge.
Oh, okay, I thought you had to go downstairs again.
I had already got them, I got them this morning.
Oh, you just
So I didn't have to go downstairs later on the day. Okay, let me call my other doctor. That ain't open. I gotta wait.
So the next witness is gonna be their fingerprint guy.
How many more
And
witnesses
they're
do
gonna
they
arrest.
have?
They have one more witness.
So it could end today.
Could into that. I mean, I don't know if the judge is gonna wanna argue it at 3:30. It's gonna take a while to get, they'll probably do it tomorrow morning.
So they only have the fingerprint guy? That's it.
We talk.
And we should bring up.
We have to, we put on, I hate the fact that this thing is streaming because I don't want my conversation recorded, but, you have an absolute right to testify. Expect you to exercise your right to not testify without to put that on the record. I know. Well, I mean, we'll do a record of it. Unless you want to. Oh, shit.
What's wrong?
We need some food. Nobody's eating. And I think the little place downstairs is closed right now.
It is, and the snack bar.
Yeah.
So the only place you could go, if you got a credit card, you know where the jury's central room is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they got some on the first floor too, but the jury central room will have better selection.
Unless,
I mean, if there's a jury one,
oh, she may have to, but we'll go all the way.
they're probably gonna. Yeah, they have one more witness.
One more?
I can make one, but I can email it to you. Can you want me to email it to you? I mean, we're gonna start it from here. I mean, then I just have to identify what I have, but I can.
You know what, let me bring them in.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Girl, it's not, if I get, well, if I get $2,500 a month overtime, my retirement is good. If I can get that. Judge, I was gonna wait till you. I'll probably quit Friday. Retire. Get the 100%, 200%. Retire. If it's $2,500, now they do taxes, I probably get $2,000. Military is $6,800.
I think he was a little confused about staying around.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a good work.
I'm sorry, my bad. No, you're good. Okay.
All right, Mr. Sadler, I'm sorry to interrupt, but if you could line them up. Thank you, sorry.
Judge, you're not interrupting.
No, we are talking.
We on the clock.
That's interrupted.
It's on the halftime show.
Oh, they sent another one today.
Oh, they did? Okay.
And I forwarded it to you.
Okay.
All right, we're ready. Yes.
All rise.
All right, you may be seated. Call your next witness.
During this time, the state will call investigator Garrett Whaley.
All right, sir, if you would please stop and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated and watch your step. You may proceed.
Investigator Whaley, if you could state your first and last name and spell each for the record.
Yes. My name is Garrett Whaley, Garrick Whaley.
How are you currently employed?
I currently work as an investigator here at the district attorney's office
How long have you been employed with the Dallas County District Attorney's Office?
for about 2.5 years now.
And what are your duties as an investigator with the Dallas County DA's office?
Currently, I examine, compare, and testify to fingerprints.
And have you worked in law enforcement prior to your time with the Dallas County District Attorney's Office?
I did.
How long?
For 20 years, I've worked for the Dallas County Sheriff's Department.
Explain to the jury what type of training experience that you had to go through to be in the field of, I guess, fingerprint identification.
During my time with the Sheriff's Department, I spent 17 years working in what we call the physical evidence section or crime scene. I was a crime scene detective. During that time, I went to a 40-hour basic and advanced fingerprint school, a 40-hour basic radiology school, and another 40-hour palm print comparison school, plus 17 years of working in the field of collecting fingerprints, examining fingerprints.
And have you testified in court before as an expert in the field of fingerprint identification?
I have,
How many times would you say you testified?
probably around 50.
Have you ever testified in Dallas County courts to fingerprints?
I have
Okay. How many times would you say you testified?
about 39.
Have you ever heard, Investigator Whaley, of two people having the same fingerprint?
I have not.
And we've been saying the word fingerprint, but just go ahead and, I guess, define what a fingerprint is for the jury.
Sure. You have what's called friction rich skin. It's on the palms of your hand and the soles of your feet. But when we're talking about fingerprints specifically, we're talking about this first joint of your fingertips.
And what is a latent print?
So a latent fingerprint is basically something we can't see. So if I lay my hand here, I may have deposited the latent print on this desk. So I would need to come back with something to process this area with so we can make it visible.
And what is explain to the jury what an ink print is.
So an ink print is where we would we're dealing with a person, usually the identity is known to us. We take ink and place it on their fingertips and put those fingers on the card so we can make the print visible.
And can you describe for the jury how are fingerprints compared and identifications made with those fingerprints?
So the first thing I'm going to do, let me back up. Fingerprints are divided into three categories, three pattern types, loops, whorls, and arches. So the first thing I'm going to do is when I'm comparing two fingerprints, are they the same fingerprint pattern type? If they are, then I can start looking at the individual points of comparison that are contained within the prints.
May I approach them?
You may.
I'm showing you what I've just marked as State's Exhibit 37. Can you explain what this is to the jury?
Yes, ma'am. This is a template fingerprint card containing the defendant's fingerprints, which I took earlier today.
Okay. And do you see the person in the courtroom who you took the fingerprints?
I do.
Can you describe the article of clothing he has on?
He's wearing the light blue dress shirt.
And State's Exhibit 38. You recognize that?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay, and then State's Exhibit 39, do you recognize that?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And then lastly, State's Exhibit 40, do you recognize that?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Your Honor, at this time, I do for the record want to admit State's Exhibit 39A and 38A.
No objection for record purposes.
All right, State's Exhibit 38A and 39A are admitted for record purposes.
Now on, so you testified that you fingerprinted the defendant in State's Exhibit 37, is that correct?
That's correct.
And the prints on State's Exhibit 37, what are they considered? They considered ink prints?
Yes,
Okay. And you described what an ink print is to the jury, correct?
correct.
And did you compare the ink prints in State's Exhibit 37 to the ink prints in State's, or the prints in State's Exhibit 38 and State's Exhibit 40?
I did.
And did you come to a conclusion as to the individual, or excuse me, the prints that are contained in each of those exhibits?
Yes, I did.
And tell the jury what your conclusion was.
That all the prints in all three exhibits were made by the same person.
And when you are comparing, when you did the comparison of the fingerprints on State's Exhibits 37 of the ink print card that you took of the defendant and State's Exhibit 38 and 40, how did you make your, I guess your comparison identification? You talked about loops and whirls.
Right.
How did you do that as far as, is that something, the process that you went through in comparing the prints in the inked print card on State's Exhibit 37 with State's Exhibit 38 and 40?
Yeah, so I looked at all pattern types to see if they were matched up, were in line, and they were. So that's when I put my fingerprint test on there and started finding those individual points of comparison contained within the prints.
And just so we're clear, in State's Exhibits 38 and 40, based on that comparison that you described, do you have an opinion as to whether or not those exhibits are the defendant's fingerprints?
Yeah, yes, I do.
may I approach your honor?
You may.
Okay. In state's exhibits, well, this on here, I do want to offer for all purposes, state's exhibits 39.
No objection.
And what is State's Exhibit 39?
May I approach your honor?
What is it?
It's the penitentiary packet of the defendant.
All right. Now that we know what it is, yes, State's Exhibit 39 is admitted for all purposes.
Now, Investigator Whaley, what is the Texas Department of Criminal Justice?
They run the state penitentiary system.
So is that basically Texas prison?
Correct.
Okay. And when a person is, are you aware if a person is convicted of a felony that, and they're sentenced to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, are you aware if a packet of information is kept by TDCJ?
Yes, there is.
Is that what we see in State Exhibit 39?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so anytime a person is convicted of a felony, that information is sent to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, correct?
Correct.
And they keep their records related to that particular penitentiary trip.
Yes, ma'am.
So on State Exhibits 38 and 40, you testified that you had an opinion that these prints were made by the same person in State Exhibit 37, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, do you see in State Exhibits 40 and 38, do you see similar identifying information on State Exhibits 30? Here, I'll do that right here for you. 38 and 40.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Do you see the same case number, cause number?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you see the same TRN number?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is that? Do you explain to me what TRN number is?
So the TRN number is a number generated by the state. Anytime a person is arrested, they're given a TRN number for that arrest.
And so you see the same TRN number on State Exhibit 40 and State Exhibit 38, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you see the same state identification number on State Exhibit 40 and 38?
I do.
And what is the state identification number?
Each state issues an identification number that's unique to that person.
And then do you see a date of offense and an arrest date that is the same on State Exhibit 38 and State Exhibit 40?
I do.
Now, on what's contained in State's Exhibit 40 here is several pages, but does the cause number on the first page, the judgment of State Exhibit 40, does that also the cause number of the attached indictment related to this offense?
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Does it also match the court number as well on the judgment?
Yes, ma'am.
And, is, this, judgment, this offense, did that occur in Dallas County in the state of Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
You already said you saw this. Any other identifying information that you see that is the same on States Exhibit 38 and 40?
The name,
The name? Okay, and what is that name?
Francisco Perez.
And on States Exhibit 39, which has been admitted to the jury, do you see the same cause number from the penitentiary packet on States Exhibit 39 that's contained on States Exhibit 40 and also States Exhibit 38?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also see the same name, Francisco Perez Valero?
I do.
Now, on the second page of States Exhibit 39, you see a series of photographs.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you familiar with an individual when they're sent to the state penitentiary that they're also photographed?
Yes, there.
And that's something that's kept with the TDCJ as well, correct?
Yes.
Now, on the third page of State's Exhibit 39, do you see essentially a exact copy of the certified judgment in State's Exhibit 40 on the third page of the penitentiary packet?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you familiar with that once a person is sentenced to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, that judgments are sent along to the TDCJ?
Usually, yes, ma'am.
And we see here in the third page of State Exhibit 39 that's admitted, what do you see the punishment here listed as?
2 years institutional division TDCJ.
And we've been saying TDCJ, but we've also said it stands for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, correct?
Correct.
You testified that that's the state penitentiary.
Correct.
That's where the individual goes if they're convicted of a felony offense by at least a third-degree felony, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then is the second to last page on State's Exhibit 39, is that the exact copy of the indictment that's also contained on the certified judgment in State's Exhibit 40?
Yes, ma'am.
And that indictment, does that contain the cause number, the offense, and on or about the date that it was committed?
Yes, ma'am.
And also on the indictment, it includes the TRN number, that you testified to earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
So that TRN number also matches that TRN number on State's Exhibit 38 from also on State's Exhibit 40 on that indictment as well, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then on State's Exhibit 39 that's admitted, you also see that same TRN here on the penitentiary packet.
That's correct.
And then do we also see the same SID number on State Exhibit 39 with that's the same on State Exhibit 40 and 38?
Yes, yes, we did.
You testified that a SID number is a state identification number.
Correct.
And is that something that's a unique number to individuals?
That's a unique number, yes, for an individual.
So two people wouldn't have the same state identification number? we've been talking about them. And, but we haven't actually said what they are. ICP recognize them. But what is State's Exhibit 38?
38 is a temporary card from the Texas Department of Public Safety.
And what is State's Exhibit 40?
It's a certified copy of judgment documents from Dallas County Court, Criminal District Number 7.
And we've identified State's Exhibit 39 being the penitentiary packet associated with the conviction of State's Exhibit 40, correct?
Correct.
Now, each time a person is arrested, or do they get prints on file with, you said DPS does it, Texas Department of Public Safety? Correct. Okay. So that what's in State Exhibit 38, that 10 print finger card?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, I'm gonna offer all purposes, State's Exhibits 37, 38, and 40. Tendering to defense.
May I take the witness on board order, please?
You may.
Excuse me, investigator, is it Whalen?
Whaley.
Whaley, I'm sorry.
That's fine, sir.
Were you the ones, were you the person responsible for acquiring these documents?
No, sir, I'm not.
Were they stapled when you reviewed them?
No, sir.
Okay. Were there only prints that you compared were the standard that you made, right?
Yes, sir.
And the prints in State's Exhibit 40, is that correct?
Correct.
And did you compare the prints in whatever this is, 38?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Those appear to be pretty good prints, right?
Yes, sir.
In State's Exhibit 39, there was no fingerprint in that packet, is that correct?
Correct, sir.
So you basically just took identifying information, name, date of birth, TRN number, et cetera, compared the prints to these two, so
Yes,
they
sir.
were the same.
Yes, sir.
And then these two things have same TRN numbers and names as number 39, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But are these certified copies?
I believe that they are.
And this is how they came, with a paper clip on them and no staple?
Yeah.
I have no objections to these documents.
All right, State's Exhibit 37, 38, and 40 are admitted for all purposes.
And Detective Wade, I just want to be clear, so are you aware that with certified judgments come along, typically what comes along with them is the probable cause affidavit of that particular offense?
Usually, yes, sir.
And
Yes, ma'am, sorry.
usually, okay, and you understand that's something that's not admissible in court, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you understand that any type of probation conditions also come along with certified judgments, correct?
Oftentimes, yes.
Okay, if a person received deferred adjudication or straight probation, correct?
Correct.
You understand those are not admissible in court as well?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
So those would have to be removed from the certified judgment portion, and only the actual judgment would be admissible, correct?
Correct.
Commission of Published Exhibits 39, 38, 37, and 40.
You may.
So we see here, say Exhibit 37, this is the inked fingerprint card that you took of the defendant, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is the fingerprint card that you compared to State's Exhibit 40.
Yes, ma'am.
These prints,
Correct.
and then these prints here, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, on the first page of State's Exhibit 40, we do see that we see the offense, which the defendant was convicted of. We see that theft greater than 200,000 ATM. Do you see that on State's Exhibit 40, Investigator Whaley?
I do, ma'am.
And then the date that that sentence was imposed, June 21st, 2016, correct?
Correct.
And then you also mentioned that the sentence was 2 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so here, this cause number here, can you read that here for the jury?
It's gonna be F1553293,
And what court is this in?
CDC 7.
And you said CDC, is that stand for Criminal District Court number 7?
It does.
And do you see that same cause number here also on State Exhibit 38?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
We also see the statute for the penal code, correct, 3103,
Correct.
and that's also listed on the State Exhibit 38 as well, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And we see that that's also, that judgment occurred in that final conviction in Dallas County
Yes, ma'am.
in the state of Texas.
Yes, ma'am.
We also see the name here of Francisco Perez Valero, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, on June 21st, 2016, from June 21st, 2016 to May 21st of 2002, would you say that's essentially a month shy of 6 years? I'm doing
From
that.
2002 to 2016?
No, from June 21st, 2016 to May 21st, 2022.
22.
Is that 1 month shy of 6 years?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
And this is the penitentiary packet associated with this judgment. We see that cause number on State Exhibit 39, correct?
Correct.
Is that the same cause number on the certified judgment of State's Exhibit 40?
It is the same.
In the array of photographs that you described on the second page, we also see Francisco Perez Valero here.
Yes, ma'am. Longview, Dallas, Texas, 75227.
Is this a part of the identifying information that's collected at the time of arrest of an individual for DPS,
Yes, ma'am.
the fingerprint?
Yes, ma'am.
And on the back of these pages, Investigator Wade, we see this seal from the clerks indicating this is being a certified document, correct?
Correct.
One moment, Your Honor.
So we also see here, Investigator Whaley, we also see here, if an individual gets any, back time credit, that is listed here in this judgment, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we see that he received, back time credit from February 25th, 2016 to the date that he was sentenced, June 21st, 2016, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, I'll pass the witness.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Judge. Investigator, just a few questions. Let me look through this real quick. Stacy 037. Does it have a birthday for the defendant?
Yes, sir.
What is that birthday?
9/12/95.
Okay. Born in 95, right?
That's what was written, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, is this an official document or not?
The defendant wrote that his day of birth.
Okay. Oh, well, do you have any reason to disbelieve that?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you know if his birthday is written on any of his other documents?
I believe that it's on the DPS card, I believe.
part of State's Exhibit 38. Let me see. Yep, at the top there. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that confirms his birthday. Would you agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So just a couple of quick questions. Basically, your testimony here today has been able to establish that my client, who was born in 1995, has a felony conviction from 2016 for a theft case, right? For a theft of an ATM case. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, can you rephrase?
Let me ask you this. Is this the title of the offense in this conviction?
Yes, sir.
In fact, it's a judgment revoking community supervision.
Correct.
What is community supervision?
Probation.
That's what most folks know as probation.
Correct.
We call it community supervision.
You're right, sir.
So this defendant was placed on probation.
Yes, sir.
His probation was then taken away from him
Correct.
because he violated a term or condition of probation. Is that right?
I'm assuming so, yes, sir.
Okay. And the date that this sentence was imposed was in June of 2016.
Yes, sir.
Is that when he was placed on probation?
I believe that would be the date that he was revoked.
Right. So this doesn't actually say when he was placed on probation, it just says when he was revoked, right?
Correct.
And real quick, is that a greater than or less than incident? I'm putting you on the spot. That's
Yeah.
embarrassing.
I believe that's less than.
It is less than. You said greater than earlier. I think you were asked, is that theft greater than 200K ATM?
I don't remember being asked that question, sir.
I remember.
Okay.
That's a theft less than, is that
Okay.
right? And to your knowledge, is that a first, second, third degree felony? What do you know?
I don't know that, sir. Off the top of my head.
Would you believe it's a second degree felony?
I would have no reason to argue with that.
Okay. So his sentence after being revoked was 2 years TDC, correct?
Right. Yes, sir.
And being revoked in 2016 and not understanding my client's date of birth, can you do the math in your head real quick to tell me how old my client was at that time?
In 2016, 21, approximately.
Close enough? Thank you. Pass the witness.
One moment, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Honor, defense counsel, the state will now rest.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I need to send you back to the jury room just for a few minutes. May this witness be firmly excused?
We have no objection.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Whaley. You're free to leave and go about your business. Oh, are we missing? Oh, there you are, Mr. Sadler. All right. Hopefully we'll have you back here in the jury room, or back here in the courtroom in about 10 minutes.
All rise.
All right, the state having rested, what says the, oh, y'all may be seated, thank you. The state having rested, what says the defense?
I would like to move for an instructed verdict, Your Honor, based on the state failing to prove each and every element of the offense as alleged in the indictment, including the fact that my client possessed a firearm after the 5th anniversary of his release from confinement for a felony, and each and every other element of the offense.
May I see states exhibits 38, no, I'm sorry, 39 and 40? Is there other specific elements?
That's primarily it, Your Honor.
What is your specific other objection, if any?
It's not an objection, just a motion for an instructed verdict based on the state.
Well, if you take anything specific in the indictment, other than,
The allegation is that he possessed a firearm away from his, after having been convicted of theft, ATM, after 5 years from his release from confinement, that he then and there intentionally knowingly possessed a firearm away from his residence. I'm alleging they didn't prove that it was away from his residence, that it wasn't after 5 years from his release from confinement. And they didn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he intentionally knowingly possessed a weapon. Thinking through the indictment.
do you need to see a copy of it?
Go ahead. I'd also allege, Your Honor, that the indictment says that having been convicted of theft, felony offensive theft greater than 200,000 ATM on the 21st day of June 2016, it's actually theft less than 200,000. And I don't think they've elicited any testimony about this possession of a firearm occurring after 5 years from his release from confinement. They elicited no testimony about when his release from confinement was. They basically said he was convicted on this day. He may have a little bit of back time, but he got 2 years in 2016. That would leave it to 2018. 5 years from that point is 2023. So there are some issues that I believe that they've alleged that they have not proven based on their own charging instrument.
Can I see the copy of the indictment?
In other words, based on their own evidence, there's a fatal flaw between the proof and the allegation.
All right, we're gonna be at recess for a minute while I make a phone call.
Do you have time to run?
Yes.
House? They got her.
That would be
Sorry.
me.
Sorry.
David.
Call report.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.